Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on this second episode in 2022 on Startup Talks. We are going to talk about a very special topic today, something I hold close to heart, the nexus between education and technology. And to do that, I've got none other than the co-founder of Abwaab and the CEO, Mr. Hamdi Tabbaa. Assalamu alaikum, Akhi. How are you doing?
Alaikum salam, Taimur. Very good, very good. How are you?
That's great, my friend. So, how's it going in Jordan? You're in Amman right now?
Yes, I'm based in Amman. That's where our HQ is. That's where we were founded.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, that's
yeah.
great. Now, we'll come to Abwab a bit later, right? Let's talk about you. I see that you've come from Uber. You were a startup founder before as well of a startup called Dukan, right? I don't know for some reason Dukan, the name Dukan is very famous. There's another one in the UAE. There's one in Pakistan too, right? So, what got you into uh, starting this startup?
Yeah, so I can tell you briefly about my journey that tells the entire story. So I graduated in 2009
Mhm,
after studying in London, doing real estate, economics, finance, and business.
mhm,
And around that time, the world was going through a financial crisis.
yeah,
So I went back to Jordan and I wanted to go into the field of food and beverage.
mhm,
I just felt that there was an opportunity to create a lot of efficiency in the FMCG space.
mhm,
I tried to set up a chain of stores. I tried to do online delivery twice and it failed.
mhm,
I ventured into food distribution, etc.
mhm.
Overall, I can tell you that it was 6 years of failures and slaps in the face, but I learned a lot.
Uh-huh. It's
This is,
paying
I
off.
mean, you learn the hard way.
It's the
Yeah,
failures are
yeah,
paying off
exactly.
now, aren't they? The
I mean, at the time, it's just like you're going through adversity and you just feel it's extremely difficult days.
uh-huh,
But then in retrospect, you look back and you realize that you learned a ton.
mhm,
And then in 2015, Uber were launching in the region.
mhm,
At the beginning, I didn't believe that Uber would make it in the region. I felt that no one would get in a car with a stranger.
mhm.
But then I went through the interviews and I ended up joining Uber, and Uber became everything that I was eating and living and breathing.
Mhm.
And I did that for around 5 years, seeing Jordan and then a couple of other markets grow from scratch to hundreds of millions of dollars in annual bookings.
Uh-huh.
And all of that growth just opened up my eyes to technology and the impact that you can create.
Mhm.
And I realized that if you can create that much impact on mobility through technology, imagine what you can do on education.
Mhm.
And education was something I wanted to venture into earlier on before even having the Uber experience, but I was always thinking of something in the offline space.
Mhm.
And obviously that changed after seeing through the Uber experience.
Mhm.
Add to it, in 2017, I took an online course that was joint degree between Uber and Harvard, and I
Mhm.
learned so much. I used to wake up at 2 a.m. to take the classes.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, imagine that someone like me in a remote country with 10 million people can receive Harvard level education.
Mhm.
And it just started becoming clearer and clearer to me that through technology, you can really deliver the highest quality education to people across the region.
Mhm.
And from there, it was a no-brainer to just go and start Abwaab with my two co-founders with the mission of making learning as accessible and as affordable to students across the region that we live in.
Okay. So all the failures are paying off now, aren't they? The failures for 6 years, they are paying off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it does pay off. As I said, in the during the times itself, you're just going through a lot of adversity, and it just feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you're just getting slapped every day in the face.
Mhm.
Used to wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and go to the central vegetable market and go to the slaughterhouse and make sure that I'm sourcing the best produce.
Mhm.
Because when you learn trade, you learn that this is a saying that my grandfather used to tell me. that 2/3 of selling is actually buying. So if you're able to procure very well, or if you're able to create a very good product, you're more than halfway through sales. Um, Obviously, I had to learn it the hard way, but now I've been applying all my learnings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to start Abwaab with my co-founders.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my co-founder he's our CTO, and he has a lot of years in tech experience. So when I found him and we met, we aligned on the mission and the vision, and we realized that it's a very good match.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other co-founder, Sabri, actually, ironically, used to be my direct competitor. So he was the GM of Careem for the same markets that I was the GM of Uber for.
Okay.
And he gave me a very hard time. Obviously, I didn't tell him that at the time. Only now I admit it. But he did give me a hard time, and I realized that if we join forces,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to build together a very strong team. And fortunately, alhamdulillah, I think we've been fortunate with a very, very strong team at Abwaab all the way from the beginning. Abwaab is being built and run by extremely strong individuals that are working closely as a team towards our mission. So we start. I was saying that we started off in Jordan, starting with high quality content and ability for students to get assessed, and then we expanded into Egypt, where we started seeing really, really good traction and high appetite by students.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after, we acquired Edmatrix, which is a Pakistani-based startup. Superstar team, great people, fully aligning on the vision and the mission that we have. And they joined the team at Abwaab, and today building what will hopefully be the largest EdTech startup in Pakistan. Pakistan is a very special market. It's the fifth largest population globally. Access to education is access to high quality education is definitely in high demand. And with smartphone penetration and technology growing, it just paves a very nice way for us to be able to make our service and our product accessible and affordable to students.
Okay.
So we started in Pakistan, and we recently started expanding into Iraq and Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay. Now, shifting away from Abwaab a little bit, but in the region there are lots of people who have come out of Careem and Uber. People like yourself, Mudassir Sheikha, Junaid Iqbal, and all of those people, you probably know most of them. So, how many of those from the two giants have you got on board in Abwaab then, apart from your co-founder?
It's a good question, and I think it's the first time someone asks it. And I was actually writing down the names the other day on a document just to count. I didn't get to the end of it, but there's a good number of ex-Uber and Careem people that are on board this journey. It's people that I can relate with. A lot of them are team members. So one of my colleagues who's heading the Egypt market used to head Uber Eats operations in Cairo. Now he's managing Zizo is managing Egypt. Omar also used to be part of the Jordan team. Today he's heading assessments regionally. Ahmed Sadiq, who's heading our Iraq operations, also used to be an ex-Careem. He actually launched Careem for Iraq. Pakistan is headed by Raja Ahmed Choja, who actually started Edmatrix and was also a fellow colleague at Uber of mine. And I can name a lot more people. I can't name them all right now, obviously, but we have a good bunch of people on the team, where it's also actually mixed with a strong group of leaders that do not have ride-sharing experience and are also driving the company forward. So I think we have a good diversity amongst
Okay. Now,
the team.
Abwaab has raised it started in 2019. In 2021, it raised close to $25 million in seed and Series A rounds. It acquired Edmatrix. Any more acquisitions planned? Because EdTech is booming right now with the COVID not going anywhere anytime soon.
I think we were, alhamdulillah, we were very fortunate with investment appetite. I think the market is extremely hot.
Mhm,
Um, there's massive opportunity to create value. As I mentioned, we've assembled a very strong team, and alhamdulillah, we've had very good traction.
mhm,
The acquisition in Pakistan was a no-brainer for us.
mhm,
We're always on the lookout for other acquisitions. It needs to come with value. So either having a strong product to add to ours, or a strong team, or to unlock a new market. And we're in constant conversations with potential acquisitions to be made.
mhm. So why Edmatrix?
Yeah.
What's so special about it?
I think the team was the first and biggest value for sure.
Mhm,
We have a great team
mhm,
for Abwaab in Pakistan that started at Matrix.
mhm,
As I mentioned, something very similar to Abwaab. They shared the same vision. Even the product direction was very similar. I think a month and a half to 2 months to actually close the deal.
mhm,
It's a superstar team, and this was the most and biggest reason
mhm,
for closing this deal.
mhm,
We were aligned on the vision. The product was very similar. We share the same values. The team are smart, bright, hustlers, go-getters, and passionate about creating impact and change across Pakistan. So it was a no-brainer to do the deal. And literally, I was saying it took us a month and a half to 2 months from start to finish to close the whole thing.
Okay, that's great. So, what about competition? I mean, Noon is also coming in very strong in Pakistan, right? You are also competing with Ed Casa within Pakistan. Now, what's your market outlook for Pakistan? Where does Abwab stand among the competition?
I think the edtech space is a few things. First of all, it's a very wide opportunity.
Mm-hmm,
The space has been historically very fragmented, where you see hundreds, if not thousands, of tech startups trying to tackle this huge problem that has existed for over 100 years.
mm-hmm,
There are large players that have been around for a few years, and there are other smaller ones that are yet to grow.
mm-hmm,
At the moment, I think there's an opportunity for multiple startups to grow across the space, given that specifically in the edtech space, there are a lot of problems to solve with different segments. There's like the K-12 segment, there's the university level, there's professional upskilling, and even within these, there are multiple ways or models to solve these problems.
mm-hmm.
So I don't look at it as competition at the moment as much as I look at it as it's a big opportunity for multiple startups to grow and try to do some proper impact.
Okay, that's good to know. Um, uh, as long as the more the number of players there are, it's better for the ecosystem, especially for
Certainly,
education. Now,
certainly.
the method of imparting education, I've seen the platform for Abwab. It looks, it's got quite a bit of similarities with the Indian platform of Byju's. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think, yes, I think we can definitely look at India as one of the pioneers in the edtech space.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the countries in the southern hemisphere, all the way from Latin America to the Far East,
Mm-hmm.
the problems are very similar, where public schooling is not great. Dependence on after school tutoring is very big. Unlike Europe and the US, where public schooling is at a different level, and anyways, private tutoring is extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So India and yeah, like started with multiple startups that have done great. Byju is definitely being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and have set the standard. I think there's room for a lot of innovation to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and we're already seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
We've definitely taken learnings from the Indian startups, but are also making sure that we innovate and we cater to the locality and the markets that we're operating in. And I think we're yet to see how the EdTech space is going to evolve into new innovations as these startups continue to grow.
Okay. How many countries has Abwaab expanded to already?
So we're operating in 5 markets at the moment: Jordan, Egypt, Pakistan, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Bring the experience and the content that is catered exactly to the national curriculum that's provided in that market. So
Okay.
if you're a high school student, you go on Abwaab and you see the national curriculum that you're supposed to take at school is exactly reflected into your experience at Abwaab, whether it's the lessons that you take or the assessments that you go and you solve about.
Okay. So that brings me to a technical question, because you're catering to all these different markets. They've got their own set of curriculums. Um, like Pakistan is following something else, Jordan is doing something else, Saudi is doing something else. So uh, the back end teams with regards to curriculum design and teaching methods, do you have teams, separate teams operating in all of those countries?
Yes, we do. So we have an office in Cairo,
Mm-hmm.
an office in Baghdad in Iraq, and we have 2 offices in Pakistan, one in Lahore and one in Karachi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we have a few hundred people amongst these 3 markets that are actually working on localizing the experience.
Okay. And what about the tech talent? Because there's a quite a bit of shortage of tech talent. I'm assuming the acquisition of Edmatrix must have also helped you there. Where's most of the tech team for Abwaab based out of?
So most of the team is in Jordan at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but there's definitely a lot of competition for tech talent regionally with the growth and emergence of more tech startups.
Mm-hmm.
I think between Egypt, Pakistan, and Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
there's a good amount of high quality tech talent
Mm-hmm.
that we're tapping onto to make sure that we keep on working towards building world-class technology as a product for students.
All right. And because things are changing so quickly, especially since the advent of the pandemic, especially in education, of course, online education was there before as well, in the forms of Coursera and all of those things. But school K-12 education and college level education was not very popular. Do you think that in the coming years, uh, people will shift more towards digital learning than stay in physical learning, or is that going to carry on in parallel?
I think the world is definitely moving towards a blended learning experience
Mm-hmm.
um, with the concept of inverted classroom or flipped classroom starting to grow as well, where
Mm-hmm.
you could be learning you could be learning at home and then going to school and spending the time to do workshops and solve problems with the teachers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're moving to a world where there's absolutely no physical presence or experience,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also important. But I think technology will enable us and students and schools and teachers to make the most out of these interactions in a different way, for sure.
All
So
right.
definitely towards a hybrid or blended experience.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to carry on for some time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, what's next for Abwab then? You guys are rocking the space, right? You've taken the region by storm. A lot of players, I've spoken to some other people as well, right? The grounds are shaking in EdTech space, and Abwab has a lot to do with that. So, what's next for Abwab, my friend?
Yeah, look, we're fully focused on the mission. It's
Mm-hmm.
very clear. We
Mm-hmm.
have 160 million students from Morocco all the way to Pakistan
Mm-hmm.
that are in major need for a product and a service like this.
Mm-hmm.
We're laser focused on creating the best product and experience and content offering and learning experience for these students.
Mm-hmm.
In parallel to growing across this geography one step at a time.
Uh-huh.
And this is what I would say is the next step for us, for sure.
Okay, that's great. We're almost coming to an end here. I'm extremely sorry about the bad internet quality. It's an unfortunate thing. It happens sometimes. This is something nobody
I
can
can't hear.
help with. Uh, uh, as a last comment, would you like to add something to the audience? Is there a message that you would like to give to the audience in Pakistan or to people in the region?
Yeah, for everyone in Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
if you're someone that's excited about the EdTech space, please do reach out to us.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely love to get as many talented people
I
on
am.
board this
I am.
journey.
I'm excited.
Please do. Of course, I mean, you and I are in continuous conversation. And if the audience are other new EdTech startups, please also do reach out.
Mhm,
We'd love to find ways to collaborate and have discussions.
mhm,
This is a huge mission
mhm,
and requires a lot of effort to be taken. And hopefully, we will be able to reap the fruits of it, inshallah.
mhm. Okay, inshallah. Any plans of visiting Pakistan anytime soon before flights close?
Certainly. Certainly, or waiting until flights close and reopen.
All right. So that's
Yeah.
great, Hamdi, and it was nice talking to you. Once again, apologies about the internet. If you're in Pakistan, please do give me a shout out. I'd love to meet up with you, have a cup of coffee or something. And if there's
Certainly.
any way I can extend support to your expansion in any way possible, just ping me. I'm all ears.
We'll, def we'll definitely reach out. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank, thank you, my
And
friend. Best of luck with Abwaab then.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Great talking to you. Allah Hafiz.